You're
least
like
I'm pretty.
spiraling.
I'm like, at least I'm pretty.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
because it was
I don't have to
so
get by on
dumb.
my brains.
It
Thank
was
God.
so dumb.
Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we aren't making any choices today, and you cannot make us. I refuse.
You can make me because there's a DILF alert we got to talk about. I'm Mandy of the New Republic.
And I'm Karin from the Watchtower.
Hey.
Welcome back to the podcast, friends. In our timeline, it is April 17th, and in y'all's timeline, it is April 25th. I don't like it.
Whoa. Yes, you do, because that
Time
means
is
we're closer
flying.
to me coming there.
I know, but time is flying. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild. Wild,
I
wild,
kind of
wild.
wanted to fly because, like, I'm going to see Hosier soon. I'm
That's
going on a
true.
Disney cruise soon. So I'm like,
Honestly, if the next
hurry up.
3 years could just fly by like that without too much trauma, I'd
Yeah.
appreciate it. That'd be great.
Fair.
I mean,
Fair.
it's been a rough fucking week for people who have empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really depressed today. I'm not going to let it show, but all I keep thinking about is like pictures of people in the CCOT facility where it's like that's like a concentration camp. Like they're
Yeah.
the same picture. And
It's
there are people there who are not criminals.
it's
So
a
like
it's a
all I can think I feel
it's
like I can think
it's a
about.
rough fucking week for
Yeah.
anybody who has a fucking heart.
Hmm.
Period.
Yep.
It's yeah. So
You're like you feel tears all day long. Like they're there right at the forefront of your eyes. And it's like if I think about it one more second, I'll start to cry. Okay, I'm gonna start to cry for okay. Let's not do that.
okay, okay. Moving on.
Woo!
Moving on. My God, can't. This week in fangirling, tell me the happy things that happened this week, Mandy.
Okay. So I finished Almost Infamous by Sarah Ainsley. I talked about it a lot last week, but the elevator pitch is this is the story of a girl who grew up without a dad and abruptly found out that her dad is a famous rock star. She's going to go on tour with him in for a few weeks, and her mom will hear no arguments about that. But there's a guy who might also be pretty, and the situation with her dad is way more complicated than she could have ever expected. I meant to say pretty perfect because I already said he's cute. He's cute, and he may be pretty perfect too,
Okay. I mean, and pretty. That works too.
and pretty. Yeah. Um,
Fair.
it was a good time. It was. I don't want to say a lot in like a bad way, but there was like a lot of like there was deep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of deep things that the character goes through that Sarah did a really good job
I mean,
writing.
understandably so, considering what the elevator pitch is.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Right. She did a really good job. Then I read a little book called Watch Me. I just have it here because it just came in. If you have read Shatter Me, then you know James. If you have not read Shatter Me, please don't talk to me. Pause right now. Don't come back. You're not welcome here until you've read all of them. And then you will know James. Three, two, one. Welcome back. We've been waiting this whole time. So this was the start of the New Republic spinoff, which is set like 10 years after, 9 years after Shatter Me ended. James is an adult now, which was odd because like to me, he's a little
He's
baby.
still a baby. Yeah.
So like I was telling Josh about it because obviously there's like a little bit of a romance in there, which I'll get to, but there's a part where he sees the girl, Rosabelle, and he says his pants start to feel a little tight. And I was like, sir, you are 8.
Except he's
Stop that.
21.
Right, except he's an adult. But I'm like, you're a little kid. You're a
I
10-year-old.
know.
Like
So weird. So
what is
weird.
happening? Stop saying that. Um, so James has enough of Adamness in him that he does what everyone has repeatedly told him not to do, and goes rogue and infiltrates Ark Island, which is like the last little area that the reestablishment has held, which is the bad guys. Oh, and then he gets himself arrested by the reestablishment. So that's great. And then we also have Rosabelle Wolf, whose background has a lot of similarities to Adam's. She's the sole provider for this sibling that she would die for in the reestablishment, and the reestablishment knows it. So she's a trained assassin who's been enhanced with AI. And she's like their greatest weapon, their secret weapon, kind of. And they have plans for her. They're going to use her by threatening her sister to bring down the New Republic that Aaron, Juliet, and the gang have set up over the past decade. James and Rosabelle cross paths, and James, being James, brings her to the New Republic. Just let's walk right into the heart of the reestablishment's enemies, and that's not great at all. Before I get to like the excellent stuff, it felt like a lot of build up and world building, so it was like it was over really fast, and it was
Yeah.
like, wait, where's
Yeah.
the story? Where'd it go?
It's like
Um,
I feel like the whole book was just like the first act of a story.
yes,
Yeah.
but it's the first book in a new series, so
Right.
like,
It makes sense.
yeah,
But
like
it's
it was kind of rushed. It felt rushed.
it was a
But when I
I
wrote,
was the end. I was like, "Ah, wait,
yeah,
more."
yeah, and I was listening to it on audio, so I
Me
didn't
too.
have the progression of pages
Me too.
to tell me I was done. So I thought I was halfway through when it ended. But I quote from my notes, I don't even care because Aaron Warner is in his DILF, that's my wife era, and I could not love him anymore if you paid me. Like, there's nothing that could make me love this man anymore. He's perfect. He is perfect. You don't even have to make him brunette. You don't even have to give it, like, you were blonde and I don't care. Yeah. So Aaron, I don't want to say it because obviously this book just came out, but
Right.
there's a really scary situation. We know, like Tahada has shared snippets, so that I don't feel like this is a spoiler. Juliet is pregnant. So Aaron's gonna be a daddy. And there's a scene where something like really scary happens and Kenji says something. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you'll know what I'm talking about, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like,
The way that I wanted to, I was like, oh my God.
ugh.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that did really piss me off though is they kept calling him Aaron Warner Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he does not want to be associated with that name. He has not
Mm-hmm.
anything to do with that name.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we calling him Anderson?
I wonder if, because there's a 10-year period that we don't see, right? I wonder if because he's like James's brother, right? So it's like
Yeah, maybe
maybe kind of
he
trying
wants the
to,
tie.
yeah, kind of that kind of thing. Because like I said, we don't see that 10 years. We don't see what
Yeah,
happens between the end of Shatter Me and the beginning of this. So there could have been something. Maybe she'll explain it later on
I hope so. I just kept
because
thinking like it probably like every time he hears it, he's probably like, ugh, like a
yeah,
cringe internally, like
yeah. I
Warner, it's Aaron Warner.
Yeah, I can imagine that there has to have been something that happened because yeah, Warner would not
Yeah. And it
want.
could be, I can't remember now
Mhm.
because like I listened to it on like 2x speed. It could be that only people in the establishment call him that and they don't know his inner like
Yeah,
because
that's
Kenji's never
true.
going to call him Aaron Warner Anderson. He's going to call him Aaron Warner.
He's just
So
gonna
it
have
could be
Warner.
that they don't know.
That's
Not that
true.
they would care. They're not going to give a shit what he
No,
wants to be called.
you're
And they're
right. I
like,
don't
that's Paris
remember.
Anderson's son.
Right, that's a good point. I don't remember either.
So it may be that. But every time I heard it, I was like, stop
Yeah.
calling him that. That is not who he is. He is not Paris Anderson's son. He is his daddy or his mama's son.
Hmm.
He is his mama's son. Stop calling him like he's anything to do with his dad.
Yeah.
Anyways, 10 out of 10, just because Aaron was there. I was so excited. Then I've started Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. So we have Margaret Ives, who's this notoriously private heiress who kind of disappeared one day. Her husband is her husband dies and she just kind of vanishes into thin air until someone who claims to be her is living on this island off the coast of Georgia and calls for a few writers to come interview with her because she wants to tell her life story, which will include all of the gory details of like her mega famous family. So this is like if I guess a Baldwin did a tell all, you know,
Okay.
or I'm trying to think of another like Hollywood dynasty.
Oh.
Um, and off the top of my head, I should have thought of one beforehand. I wanted like go to the Kardashians, but like they tell all the time.
Yeah.
But
What
like
about
a
yeah,
multi-generational,
yeah. What Goldie Hawn and her kids?
yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
The Hudsons and
Yeah.
Hans and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more. If my mom ever heard this, or my grandmother, they would be like, these.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're on the seat of our pants here. So she's like, I'm gonna spill all of the tea.
Hmm.
about everything. So naturally, writers are chomping at the bit for the chance to write her story. And in the beginning, it gives a lot of Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo vibes because it
Okay.
was the same thing. This older woman finally is going to spill it all to one writer, but it's not just one writer yet. So we have Alice Scott, and she is like chomping at the bit to get this story. It would be her big break. She would show her family that she's a serious writer. She meets with Margaret, and everything seems to be going great until Hayden Anderson shows up, and he wants the story too, and he's won a Pulitzer Prize.
Oh.
So she's like, "Fuck!" Like this, she's never gonna give it to me. Like he's already won awards for telling people's stories. So Margaret, because we don't know if it's Margaret or not,
Hmm.
decides to give them each a 1 month trial period to see who gets to tell her story. And they are like ready to duke it out for this story. And it's an Emily Henry book. So we can assume that they're going to
We
duke it out.
know
They're going to
where
wrestle.
things are going. We know where
They're going
things
to
are going.
wrestle.
That's
Maybe not
funny.
in the way that you're thinking, but um, yes, or maybe not in the way they think they'll be wrestling, but
Yep.
Emily Henry. It's good so far. I've been listening to it. I have an ALC from Libro, so yeah. And then I finished The Neverlist by Jade Presley. More on that later. And then I made Josh watch Catching Fire because we watched The Hunger Games. And
Yay.
he's funny to watch it with because he never read the books. Like he's not
Uh-huh.
a big reader.
Right.
I got him to read all the Fourth Wing books. I've got him halfway through Throne of Glass, but like I don't see him reading The Hunger Games.
Hmm.
And it's like he hasn't seen them since we saw them in the theaters when they came out.
Hmm.
So he is like, he doesn't remember. He's like, why does this lady keep saying TikTok, TikTok, TikTok? She's crazy, man. She's crazy. And I'm like, it's a clock. It's a clock. So like random, like I know what's happening that he spews out have been fun because some of them, like he's right. And it's like, you remembered that.
Yeah.
And other times it's like, no, that's not. So in the end, spoiler alert for Catching Fire. It's been out for forever. They don't like the Capitol gets PETA, and I'm like, the worst is coming. And he says, yeah, mind control. I was like, yeah, it's worse than mind control. It's how they get him to the mind control. It's awful.
Oh.
This is the first time I've watched it since Sunrise on the Reaping.
Hmm.
So he got a commentary of, oh, this is so awful because, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, this makes me want to cry because ABC. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Did you know that this is where? So it's a different experience
I'm
reading
sure.
the books after sunrise and watching the movies after sunrise.
I'm
So
sure. I'm sure.
whew, emotional.
Hmm.
And then we'll probably watch Mockingjay 1 tonight whenever we get done recording or over the weekend because
Yeah.
we got home, we had like some stuff we were doing last night with the twins. They had an honor roll awards ceremony, and then we went to dinner. And when we got home, he was like, so what's the next Hunger Game? Mockingjay? Is that like he was ready to watch it, but I was like, dude, I gotta go to sleep.
Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah, he may be even more excited to watch it than I am.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah. And that's my week. What did you do this week?
All right. I have notes and they're long, but I'll talk fast. I read Heavenly Bodies by Imani Eriu. This is a world ruled by stars instead of gods. Prophecy predicts that Alara is going to fall for a star and it will be the end of them both. So when Ariette, the star of Wrath, War, and Chaos, hears about it, he comes down to Alara's kingdom, which is the kingdom of knights, and starts wreaking havoc. Alara can't be killed by a star, that's part of the prophecy, but literally everyone else around her can be, so she kind of flees from her kingdom in order to try and save them from all of this, because she's the one that he wants. He wants to capture her and just hold her so that, like, the prophecy can't come to fruition.
Yeah.
So Alara flees to the neighboring kingdom of light, aka the kingdom of her enemies, because they are the kingdom of knights. There, she is forced into training with the Prince of Light himself, Prince Lorenzo, to become powerful enough to kill a star and save all of the kingdoms, because clearly Ariette has a vendetta and he has no qualms about murdering people. Period.
Right.
So, okay, we love a good enemies to lovers. We love a good forced proximity. We love a good shadow daddy, but we really need to give it up for the shadow mommy.
All right.
Alara, I love her. I love this book. I need the sequels immediately injected into my system. It is a trilogy, so there's a long ways to go, and I am stressed out. The end of this book, did not expect it at all. I'm dying. So highly recommend. I reread The Forest Grimm and then I read the sequel, The Deathly Grimm, because it's been a while since I read The Forest Grimm. I'm pretty sure I've already talked about it on the podcast, but we'll go over it again because I've read it. So this is this is a duology, and if you enjoy fairy tale retellings, especially along the lines of like Once Upon a Time or Into the Woods, this is the series for you.
Love.
So our heroine is Clara, and she lives in this village, which name escapes me, and it's surrounded by the Forest Grimm. So long ago, the village owned this magical book that allowed each villager, when they came of age, to make a wish on the book, and then the book would give them basically directions on how to achieve that wish. It's not just like, oh, I want to be the most beautiful girl in the village, and then she just magically becomes beautiful. Like, it gives you a list of like, you need to do this, this, and this, and it makes no sense, but eventually you get to like the end goal, right? They cannot tell anybody what their wish is, or else it'll be reversed. And everything's going great until somebody decides to use the book to wish to kill somebody. And the book does not take
You
kindly to
gotta
that.
ruin it for everybody.
The book does not take kindly to that and vanishes, and the villagers end up trapped in their village. So they can't exit the village at all because they're surrounded by the forest, and the forest is like, if you try and go into the forest, it'll either like repel you back, or it'll like, the trees will grow roots and try to like just, yeah, it's not
Eat
good.
you.
Bad news bears. However, there are some villagers who have gone into the forest. They've been like enchanted and like walked into the forest and have become lost. So every year the village holds like the ceremony where they pick one person from the village to go try and go into the forest and find the lost ones. And it's kind of, and nobody's ever really been allowed into the forest that the forest doesn't want in there, right? And so Clara desperately wants to go because she wants to find her mom. Her mom is one of the lost ones, and she's like, I'm going to be the one to find her. Fortunately for her, her childhood friend Axel is the one who gets chosen, and unfortunately, they are not allowed into the forest. But Clara, due to a series of events, Clara finds a way to safely cross into the forest with some protection, and she takes Axel with her, and they go on a mission to find her mom and his betrothed. And I mean, it's forced proximity yet again.
No.
We have a childhood friend. I love it. It's a great mix of like fairy tales in such a way that just like, yeah, it's very similar to like Once Upon a Time and Into the Woods and that kind of like fairy tale retelling, but like combining a bunch of different fairy tales in a way too. And I thought it was a really fun and refreshing way to like look at it.
Oh.
I read Watch Me by Tahara Mafi. Obviously, I don't have to say anything about this book because Mandy just did that. The only thing I will say is if you thought that Tahara Mafi could write and release a new book in the Shatter Me world, and I, who co-host a podcast with Aaron Warner's number one fangirl, was not going to immediately drop everything and read it in order to avoid said co-host from glaring at me for not reading it, you'd be very, very insane. It was like, there was no way that, like,
I'm not
had
getting
to.
around this.
I was like, it was required reading this week. There was no way to not read it. Like,
Class was in session.
so 10 out of 10, obviously. I read Iron and Embers by Helen Scher. I cannot pronounce this last name. And it was read to me because I listened to the audiobook and I still don't remember it. Anyways, Iron and Embers. It follows Ren Embervale, who is an alchemist turned poisoner after this big war took the lives of her sister and closest friends. So she is hell-bent on revenge. She has spent the last several years just going after the people that she thinks is responsible, and in like a low-key sneaky way, because she poisons them and nobody realizes that it's her. That is until an attack happens on one of the royals, and it brings to light that there's this new dangerous unknown form of alchemy that only affects royals, people with magical blood. So now she's being offered a spot at a prestigious alchemy academy named Drevenor in order to find a cure for this dark magic. But in order to keep her spot at this academy, she has to take part in the Gauntlet, which is a series of grueling and deadly trials. But it's not just sabotage from her fellow classmates that she has to worry about. She is also the heir to one of the thrones, so she is a royal. She has magical blood, and there are people who are coming after magic wielders. So it's kind of a race against time to kind of figure out, how do I make sure that there's a cure for this thing that they're trying to murder me with, essentially.
Ugh.
But the greatest threat of all might actually come in the form of Torj Elderbrock, who is the silver-haired war hero that she has a very long history and simmering tension with. We love Torj. We love him. He ends up being assigned as like her bodyguard while she is like going through all of this stuff, and it's just, again, forced proximity was the term this week. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And then I also read The Neverlist by Jade Presley. More on that momentarily. And then I have a couple shows. I binged all 3 seasons of The Weight Traders. After Mandy just like casually mentions it, and I'm like low-key
Sounds
obsessed.
intriguing.
Low-key
Yeah.
obsessed with it, even though it's so dumb.
Yeah, agreed.
It's like so addicting. I will say I think the first season is the best season, and the third season is the most drama-filled season. The
Okay. I'll
first,
have to watch the first.
yeah, so the first season they actually have like half celebs and then half like regular people,
Mm,
which was cool. It's like it's
yeah.
cool to see that. And then in season 2 it was fully celebs, and season 3 it was fully celebs. So it like
Yeah.
lost kind of that like charm.
Well,
Lala,
because
yeah,
people who are not celebrities have a deeper drive, in my opinion, to want to win
right,
$250,000. They can't
exactly.
hop on Cameo and make $40,000 a
Right.
day.
Exactly. Exactly. Like it hits
It would
differently.
make them a better player too, I would think, like more strategic because like
Right.
I got to get these celebrities out because I'm winning that money.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And Lala makes her appearance in season
I love
2.
her.
She was not in season 1, but she's in season 2 and 3. And I think season 3 was the season where I like knew the most amount of people, which was so
Yeah.
weird because I like don't really watch reality TV. Um,
I watched like Vanderpump Rules and I knew like the housewives.
yeah.
The only season of Big Brother I watched was season 3 with my
Uh-huh.
mom when I was like 12 and Danielle was on it.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I was like, I knew her. I knew like I didn't know Zac Efron's brother until you said that's Zac Efron's brother, until
Right.
they announced.
Right.
But yeah, I knew some of the housewives and obviously I knew Sandoval from
I I'm
Vanderpump.
I'm so glad that you dropped the T on Vanderpump Rules, because I feel
You're like,
like
I hate
I
him.
feel like if you don't know like the Sandoval tea, like it makes the experience less, because it's like everybody
Yeah.
in there knows. And my favorite part, and this is, I mean, it's reality TV, so it's not really spoilery, but like where he says that women are better cheaters on accident instead of traitors. And it
Yeah.
was the I died.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
died.
And if you
My God.
didn't know about any of that,
Right.
like, I mean, he's like pompous and like over the
Right.
top about things, but people would generally be like, wow, he's like a nice guy. Like,
Yeah.
he's weird, but
But
like,
like
he's
that,
a nice guy. And it's like, he's not, though. He's
no.
really not.
And that line hits so much, so
Yes.
different if you know the
Yeah.
background. So yeah.
Hmm.
And then I started this new Speaking of reality TV, the
Reality
new
shows you
show.
don't, reality TV you don't watch.
Okay, in my defense, it's hosted by Simu Liu. So
Fair.
I'm watching it for Simu. It's called Got to Get Out. It's brand new, and just in case you've been around for a while, like Simu knows we exist, which is like
Yes, he does.
very cool.
Is that still in
Anyways,
our bio?
it is still in our bio. It's one of my favorite things.
I love
Um,
it.
okay, so there's a group of 20 people. They're like half celebs and half regular people. And they are stuck in a mansion together, like this huge mansion together for 10 days. There's a counter in this mansion that is counting like the seconds, but it's counting up to $1 million. So every second is $1. So that's the only way they can tell time. There's no clocks or anything. That is essentially how they tell time. And so if the counter hits $1 million and they're all still in the house, then they all split the $1 million. So it's like $50,000 per person, right? But they also have the opportunity to escape. So there's like these big, like giant locks that are either red or green, like red if it's locked and green if it's unlocked. And they're like various points around the house. And so if it opens and you have the opportunity to, you can try and escape. And you have to run down this like long ass like driveway in order to get to the gate and get to the car that is your getaway car essentially.
Yeah.
And if you're able to escape, you get whatever money was on the counter. You get to keep it.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so you don't have to like share. You do have the choice to split it with somebody because like they find out really quickly that there's not really a way for you to like escape without help because there's a watchtower that looks directly over the driveway, and then there's a button that like if it's pressed it closes the gate, right? And so you have to work with people in order to be like sneaky because it's it's a long ass driveway.
Yeah.
And so the watchtower also has like a lever that you can pull that like alerts alarms all over the house so people know like, hey, we gotta go press the button. And again, it's absolute crap, but it's so addicting. Like I
I
can't.
sometimes you just need
That's
reality TV bullshit.
yeah, exactly. Speaking of reality TV bullshit, Spencer Pratt is on this show, and
Oh my God.
I kind of hate him. Like I don't know him. Like I've never seen him. I didn't
Yeah.
watch The Hills or any of that. I
I
just know
didn't
his
either.
name. But he's actually legitimately awful. Like
So,
I hate
yeah, agree.
him.
I've heard, but he apparently did a lot trying to get TikTok not banned, and I
Okay.
want to say he was like championing a bunch of charities during the fires
Okay.
in the
Okay.
Palisades, but
Fine.
his house had also burned down, so that could have been self-serving.
Fair, fair. Yeah, I just don't enjoy
I've
him.
heard, always heard he's shit, him and his
He's
wife. So
yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. From the moment he shows up, I'm like, no. No, thank
you're
you."
like,
Yeah. And that was like my week.
come here. I can show one thing that happened this week. Come here. We have another dog. We've decided to
Officially.
keep it.
Officially.
His name is Poochie the Pirate Rover. This
Sweet
dog, I don't know
baby.
if I talked about him on the podcast or after. So he showed up on our porch a couple of weeks ago. And at first we were like, oh, he's lost. And then we're like, oh, we're going to
No.
find him another home.
No.
We found
No.
him a home. We think he looks like Poochie from the Pirates of the Caribbean. So that's where Poochie and Pirate come from. And then we also think he looks like Rover from the Carousel of Progress. So it's like Poochie is his nickname, Pirate Rover is his government name, and I got him on Etsy. All right, you can down. On Etsy, I got him a Pirates of the Caribbean coin tag that's gonna have his name on the back.
Oh, that's
So we're
so
not.
cute.
This is like intel because until that comes in, we're not like posting him on Facebook or anything
Right. Right.
to tell the world. So like listeners, if that hasn't come in when this episode comes out, you have top secret Mandy's personal life news.
I love it. I love it.
So yeah,
Yay.
this week in fangirling.
Yeah.
Do you have a fictional boyfriend this week?
Kenji Kishimoto. Duh. Like, I mean, he was my boy from the beginning, and he will forever
Yeah.
be my boy. like I love that man. I love him. And I just no spoilers, but like I just want to give him a hug for like a hot minute. Like
Yeah,
my boy. I love him.
I
Um
know.
but I also can't not say Simu Liu, even though he's not like a fictional person, but it's like
Yeah.
Simu Liu. So, yeah.
Sure. Is
That's
he in the house or is he just like
he
narrating?
he's like narrating. They call him the host, but he never like interacts with anybody. He just it's like
Okay.
it's like voiceover, and then like every now and then he'll have like a scene, but he's just like by himself talking.
It's like Love is Blind, where like Nick Lachey and what's her name only
Vanessa.
do like
Yeah.
Vanessa only do a like they do the reunion show where
Yeah,
they ask
he
questions,
just
but
kind
they
of
I don't
yeah.
think they're ever
Yeah, he I don't think he ever
there.
interacts with them. He just is like talks to us. So
I'm so full of shit. They go to like bridal fittings and they're in their pods. Now that I think about it, that's not a
uh,
good example at all.
but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you have a fictional boyfriend this
I
week?
don't this week. I don't have one. I can Eric Warner. Dilf.
Oh my God. Like,
Oh,
if you
you
did not
like
say Aaron Warner, you would have been body snatched.
it
Like,
was not me. It would
yeah.
never be me if I didn't say Aaron. And like my only real complaint about this book is that there wasn't enough Aaron. I'm like, can we get that? This is bullshit. I don't care about James and Rosabelle. I just y'all figure your shit out.
Do it off screen. Give me
What's
more
Aaron
horn.
doing? Where'd Aaron go?
Oh my
And
God.
people like I was looking, I don't know why I did this, but I was looking at reviews of like what other people have said, and they're like, "Oh, he was so cold at the end, and I just can't believe he would do or say this." And I'm like, I stand by my man 100%. I agree with everything he wanted to do in the end of that book. Like, no notes, get
Yeah.
them,
He
you get
clearly
them.
he clearly knew more than he was letting on,
Yeah,
obviously. Like, come on,
you know, out
guys.
here criticizing,
Come
girl. We
on.
don't criticize Aaron Warner.
Come
That
on.
man ain't never done a thing wrong,
Come on,
not a
baby.
single thing. Aaron was cold.
Oh my God.
Fuck out of here.
That sound means we have an intruder alert.
Oh, this is an exciting
I'm
intruder.
so excited. I feel like we've been waiting for a while to do this one. We are talking to
Yeah.
Jade Presley, author of The Never List. I'm obsessed. I'm so glad you're here. I really feel like we talked about this like a while ago, and now you're
Yeah.
here. So I'm so
I feel
excited.
like the book I feel like we got the book so early, which was awesome. Like it
Yeah.
came so early and it was like this is amazing. Sometimes we get them like 2 days before and it's like,
Oh no, gotta read real
uh-oh,
fast.
And you're
uh-oh.
like speed reading.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so the first thing we always ask is, can you give us the elevator pitch of the book for anybody who hasn't heard about it?
Yes, I can. So, The Never List is a spicy why choose romantasy with one girl who goes to an event and she's not supposed to be there, and then it ends up ensnared in a royal game with four very seductive princes.
I love it.
That she does. So where did this like the inspiration for this story come from?
Oh man, it was so we were working on we were coming up on my next project, and I did have a character who was talking to me, and then I was so lucky because my editor was like, I want something like a super spicy romantasy, kind of like what I've already been doing independently, right? And I was like, oh, I have this character who will not stop talking to me. And it was Riley, and she was very, very upset about being at this event and getting chosen by these princes because she hates all things like royal and authority and wealthy men and everything. And so, luckily, I sent that pitch back to my editor, and she was like, "Do it." And so Riley made my job super easy. She was very loud. She was very opinionated. She came to me pretty much fully fleshed about her situation. So it was awesome, and we just ran from there.
I love that. It's so nice when they actually like are so clearly talking to you and allowing you to
Yeah.
just go with it.
They're like,
Um,
this
Yeah,
is
it
my
definitely made it
story.
easy.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of that, can you talk about like your writing process a little bit? Like, are you a plotter? Are you a pantser? How much of the story did you know before you started? Do you know like where the whole series is gonna go?
I do. So I'm a plotter. I have a lot of friends that are pantsers, and I like so admire them being able to like, I'm gonna sit down and just make some magic today. Unfortunately, that's not me. I need to plot like to the detail in order to just hold myself accountable, because there's a lot of times that, we wake up and we're not creative,
Mhm.
but if the past me was creative, I can usually get through it. So yeah, my process, I'll start with my characters first. I'm a very character driven writer. And so I'll spend a lot of time with them, like sketching them out as fully as I can. So I know their voices, I know, how they're going to react in certain situations. I know their vibe. And then I go to plotting and I will do like a chapter by chapter plot. Whose point of view are we in and what's happening in this scene. And that takes me about a week or 2 weeks, maybe sometimes longer if I have to do a ton of research on a certain aspect in the book. And then yeah, after that I get started on writing. So that's my process.
I love that. I wish
You
I
just
could.
blew my mind thinking about like if current me isn't creative but
Yeah.
past me was, I can make myself get there. I
That
never,
is
because I
that
would be
is
I'm a
yeah.
pantser. I can't. Like the
Yeah.
thought of being organized enough to plot does not compute to me, but that makes so much sense.
It really does.
Because there are those days where you
Yeah.
sit in front of your keyboard and you're like, I can't type a word. I don't know what words are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah, I think
game
that's just a
changer.
natural
My God.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just
Oh
thinking
my
like,
God.
oh,
Like,
if I'm feeling creative right now, I need to like write down all this like these plot points and all of that. Like because yeah, like there are days where you're just not feeling creative and you're like, wait, but I have all of this to fall back on. And game changer. Absolute game changer.
Yeah, it
yeah.
helps me. I have like an Excel document and I'll have like the plot in one sheet and then I'll have the characters and everything in another sheet. And it just helps me stay organized. If not, I'm going to just be like spinning my wheels in front of the keyboard.
Oh
And
my
so,
gosh. A
yeah,
woman
I just,
after my own heart. I love a good spreadsheet. I
Yeah.
love a
Karen
good
yes.
lives for a
spreadsheet.
spreadsheet.
It just helps me stay accountable, especially when I have so many main characters to
Oh, I'm
play
sure.
with. It just helps me stay really connected to them throughout the series, as we're writing it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of the characters, I know it's like asking a parent to pick their favorite child. Do you have a favorite one of the princes? Because I definitely do. It's Pierce because he gave Dorian Shadowhands Haviard vibes, and I was here for that.
Oh my goodness. I love hearing that so much. It's so much fun because everybody has a different answer. And I don't even ask, I never ask this question because it's all like, it's a why choose. I don't want you to have to make a
Right.
decision. But if a natural decision comes to you, I'm all for hearing about it. And I love it. Everybody has their different prints. And I cannot answer. I've been asked this question and I have such a hard time answering. And the way I've been answering it is I think it's going to totally depend on my mood, which prince I want in that moment. Like,
That
if
makes
I want to
sense.
be pampered, I'm calling
Yeah.
Cal. If I
Hmm.
want to go have an adrenaline rush, I'm calling Axel. If I want to have a big, drag out fight, I'm calling Jax. And if I just want to be like fully soul nurtured, I'm calling Pierce. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to answer that.
That's
Yeah. Well, it's
that's
like why choose, but I can choose in the moment based on my
Yes.
yes.
vibe.
Yeah, my
Yes.
vibe. Like, what do I want? Do I want them all at the same time? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Love it. So I am a why choose veteran. Mandy over here is this is like her
This
first
was my
why
first
choose.
foray.
Oh
Um
my gosh.
so
Yeah.
I feel like every why choose that I've read, it's always three love interests. But you have four in this one, and which is new for me, but also like I was low-key stressed out because four is like a bad luck number in Chinese culture. So I was like,
Oh,
oh no, what's gonna happen?
oh
Um,
no.
but like, how do you decide? How do you decide how many love interests that our heroine will have?
That's such a good question. Yeah, so I have a couple of series that I've published independently, and so it really comes to me if who's talking to me. Like again, I always go back to the characters, and so if I have more than three talking to me, like I did in my first series and in this series, I absolutely just go with it and see where it's going to go. And usually I figure out how important those voices are while I'm doing the character sketches. But I did have one, the book I released right before this one called The Veiled Blood of Magic. And I didn't have four love interests. I only had three. So it's all about the characters and who is demanding that they be on the page. And so I'm kind of just like, helpless to what they want.
That makes sense. They're very
Fair.
loud sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So you kind of already answered this, but I have to wrap my mind around it because I'm so new to Why Choose and baby author as well. So you have like a show Bible basically for keeping up with all of the love interests that get the girl because they have their similarities and that they're princes. They're all like tough and wealthy and all of that, but then they have such differences too that how do you like get that nuance of like the tone of their voice and and how they speak? Is that all in your spreadsheet?
Yeah, so that will definitely happen during the sketching process. And I spend a couple weeks sketching with these characters. And even as I get deeper into the project, sometimes things will come up and change a little bit, but mostly they stay true to that beginning exploration. And for Why Choose especially, and I'm so glad that this is your first Why Choose. I feel so honored. I feel very honored. But as you know, Karen, with Why Chooses, I definitely feel like it's incredibly important to make sure that they are distinct so it doesn't feel, like you don't know whose head you're in. Like I wanted people, if they opened the book and they just started reading, they would, without reading the chapter tag, they know whose voice they're in. And I kind of try to, that's my ultimate goal is to make sure that, oh, I know this vibe. I know whose head I'm in right now. And because if not, I feel like it could get tiresome and I don't want to wear the reader out in that way. So maybe other ways, but not that way. So
I love that.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was like thinking about it. I was like, wait, all the other ones I've read, that's only been three. And in my mind, I'm like, well, three makes sense because there's three parts, so
right.
it makes sense. But like, and then so I was like,
You can have a
how does
spectator.
this work?
Yes. It's
And
tough. It is tough. It's a challenge.
yeah. Did you ever
I
have
can imagine like having to map it out like
Oh, girl, I
like
literally have to draw. I have to draw it out.
That's what
And
I
I'm
was
not
gonna
an
say.
artist.
Like, was there any moment or like any draft where you're like, there's too many hands? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yes. That's really, it's such a fun process because, again, I'm not an artist at all. I cannot draw. So it's like stick figures. Like, it's like, okay, this is here, this is here, this person's over here. It's like, it's ridiculous. But I try to do my best to map it out so that way, because I don't ever want that to happen where it's like, wait, this does not compute. And I'm like, I need it to
yeah.
compute. That's something I need as an author. I'm like, I need it
Right.
to be testable.
Yeah.
Even though I know somebody asked me if I had like dolls, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting. Maybe I should try to get like
Oh,
the
The
bendable
that's a
stick
little
good
yeah,
figures.
or like the art
idea.
dolls
Yeah,
or
I need
some
to get
Yes.
those. Yeah,
what is it,
I need to
Gumby?
get five. I need to get five, and we'll be good.
You need
That
some
is
Gumbies.
such a
I
good
do.
idea. My
I know. I'm
God.
telling you, I'm getting ready to move, but like once I get to my next place, I'm gonna have five dolls just hanging out and on my shelf.
Or like your neighbor walks by your open window and they're like,
What is
Oh no, it would not
get
be
a load
good.
of this.
Right? They'd be like, "What is happening
The
in here?"
new neighbor's a
I'm
freak.
like, just trying to like, yeah. I mean, wouldn't be. Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
guess it's not that much different from like watching you like feverishly sketch out like little stick figures and they're like
Right. I mean, like,
drawing.
I have to destroy the evidence. I have kids, so I'm like, I don't want them to come in and find it. Oh man.
They're gonna
Oh.
find your dolls and be like, Mommy,
Yeah. What are you doing? Nothing. Just
can I play
research.
with these? No, that's
Nope.
fierce.
No, no. Oh my God. I
It's a good
love
time. It's a good genre. I love it. I love it so much.
it.
Yeah,
Sounds like
it's
a fun
fun.
time. Sounds like a real fun time. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Whew, now that I can breathe again.
I know my face is starting to hurt.
Okay, so we talked about the boys, and we do have a couple questions that we like ask all of our authors, and they're just kind of like for funsies. So we have a
Okay.
segment that we call Fictional Boyfriend of the Week, where it doesn't necessarily have to
Oh
be a
no.
boyfriend.
Wait, you're gonna ask a white choose author to choose a
It doesn't
fictional
necessarily
boyfriend?
have to be a boyfriend. I've had a fictional granny. Mandy's had a fictional son. But we just kind
Oh,
of
I
like
love that.
like fictional
Fictional
characters.
pets. Yeah.
Yes, just fictional characters
Mhm.
that you're just like, that's the one. I love them. Do you have any characters that like either
We'll
your
let you
list.
have multiple. You don't have
You
to
can have
pick one.
multiple books,
And yeah,
television,
not it doesn't have to
movies.
be like you've written. It could be like
Just like
from my
any,
favorite book or from my
yeah,
favorite show.
anybody that you're like, everybody should meet this person. Go read this, go watch that, go whatever, because you need to know this
Oh,
character.
oh my gosh, this is like such a fun question because
Oh,
my mind is just like exploding with, because once
yeah.
you say it doesn't have to be mine, I'm like, oh, I can do this. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, can I have like a fictional
You can have whatever
mentor and then a
Yes.
fictional.
fictional boyfriend? Okay, so for
Yes.
fictional boyfriend, I'm obsessed with Quicksilver right now, so I'm all about Kingfisher. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with him, so I would take him for the week. I would love that. Super
Yeah.
fun.
Love it.
I'm super obsessed. Like I just finished that a couple weeks ago and I'm still like he's just living rent free in my head. But for a fictional like mentor, like grandpa, literally like I don't know if you guys have seen Shrinking, but Harrison Ford's character in Shrinking is
Yeah.
like the ultimate grumpy yet so smart character. And I love the way the writing on that show just interweaves so many different storylines across all different kinds of age groups and diversity. And it's such a great show. And I'm obsessed with it. And I just finished the last episode they had. And I just, oh, Harrison is like my OG crush. And so, yeah, if he could be my mentor for a week, I feel like I would be so much wiser. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I
My
love that.
husband watched it, and so I would get like snippets, but I haven't watched it yet. But that was my late mother-in-law's, like he was her man, and I was always like, he's always been like an old man to me
Right.
until
Oh,
I was like, I haven't. This is awful. I know. I'm a terrible fangirl, but I haven't watched all of the Star Wars movies.
oh,
But
You've
my
okay.
watched
husband
more
was
than I
watching
have,
one.
though.
My husband was watching one of the originals one day, and I walked through and I was like, "Wait, I see it
I
now
get it.
because like
Yeah.
she was his age, so like she got young Harrison Ford, and I was like, "All right, Mama,
I get
I
it.
Right.
see
see you.
I
I
get
Yeah,
get
he's
it.
not an
Yeah.
old
Oh man,
man."
I'm a total nerd. I was like raised on Indiana Jones and Star Wars. So yeah, I've loved him like in so many various stages of my life that I'm like he would just be the coolest person to like hang out with. And that character in particular, I feel like it's coded Harrison Ford, but
it.
it's just
I
I
love
love it
that.
so much. And the writing on that show is just epic. It's such an uplifting show, kind of like Schitt's Creek was. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's kind of like a comfort show for me now.
Wait, I love Schitt's Creek. Now I have to watch it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna like binge it all.
I know
Right?
you said uplifting, and I was like, I went Ted Lasso, and I was like, man, I need to rewatch Ted Lasso.
Oh, I love
Oh,
Ted Lasso. I
yeah.
do love Ted Lasso, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also a good one.
Okay, another question. We know we love your book. We're going to recommend it. But what are you reading when you're not writing? If you're not reading anything that you want to recommend, do you have like a favorite book or a favorite few books or books that some people should read?
Yes, so I actually am super lucky. I just got done with an arc of Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry.
Where's
Yes!
mine? I was like, wait,
Yes!
where's
Oh my
I haven't
gosh!
started it yet.
You haven't started it? Girl,
No.
it is a fantastic book. And it is like this beautifully, I mean, there's just magic in every page. Devaney just, she blew me away. And I was so happy that I got an arc of it. But it's like this delicious slow burn. Like, I haven't read a delicious slow burn in a long time. And, being a why choose writer, we get there quicker. And that's
mine?
okay. Sometimes you need that, right? You just need to
Yeah.
be able to get there. But
Yeah.
this slow burn is just, it's beautiful. Her world is beautiful. So I am obsessed with that. And it comes out May 6th, I believe, which happens to be my birthday. So that's probably why I
Oh,
remember
happy
it.
birthday. That's my
I
dad's
think,
birthday too.
oh, I love it. Such a good day.
Yeah.
But so what's funny is if I am writing, which I am writing, but I made an excuse for that because it was just like such a lucky arc to get. But when I'm really deep in the deadline, I can't read fiction. So I'll read nonfiction, like just a little bit, like just like neuroscience books or like,
Wow.
I'm really fascinated by the brain. So like I'll read that in order to make sure that like I'm not like automatically slipping into a voice or something that I'm reading. Because when
Yeah.
I read a fantasy, especially because that's my first love, I'll like get obsessed with it and it'll become my
Right.
personality.
Yeah.
So I'm like
Yeah.
when I'm heavy writing, I can't do it. But this one I just paused writing and I just read all day for 2 days straight, and then I was just like obsessed with it. So I
Oh
can't
my
wait to hear what
gosh.
you guys think of that one.
I love it.
Oh,
I'm
I'm so
so
excited to
excited to
start
read
it.
it.
So good. She's fire. I love her.
I'm so excited. Okay, so speaking of writing, what comes next? you obviously there's more in this series. Do you have any other projects that you're also working on? Anything that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so because it's very widely known now that this ends on a cliffhanger,
Yes.
so I am deep into book two. So everybody can rest assured I am in it. I am still in Lumethist. I am still deep into these characters, and so I am working as hard as I can every day to make sure this book gets done. Because that's like the first message I've been getting on Instagram is like, "Why did you do that to me?" And I'm sorry, but it just,
You're like,
I needed
please.
another book
It's
to
just,
explain things.
yeah, it's so funny because I'm like, I'm so used to like fantasy and things ending on cliffhangers like that, where I'm just like, okay, yeah, this sucks, but like, I expected it. And then I have like a
Yeah.
bunch of friends who had read it before me, and they're like, oh my gosh, wait until you get to the end. I'm screaming, I'm dying, and I'm like, guys, did you not see this coming?
Yeah.
Like, it's the first in a series, and it's fantasy. Like, there
We
was
gotta
bound
make you
to be.
come back.
It
We
was
gotta
like,
leave them
come
wanting
on,
more.
guys,
Right, yeah. Just a little bit. I
a
love that
little
you're like,
bit.
come on, guys, like you knew
Give them
this.
the
You
old
know
razzle
better.
dazzle.
Listen, I know it sucks, okay? I want the next one too. But did you not expect that?
Right,
Like
for sure.
there was definitely going to be a cliffhanger.
Yeah, definitely. I just, yeah, it's the fantasy. It's kind of on trend for that.
Right. I'm just like I'm starting book 1 of a fantasy series. Oh, I'm not getting closure.
No,
Right,
no. Everything's gonna be
right,
on fire.
I'm gonna be
right.
It's
like,
gonna
Yes,
be the worst.
pretty much.
I
They're gonna
feel
be in
like,
the worst possible place that they could be in. Literally.
and then the end. I'm like,
And then
what?
I gotta go.
Damn
Yeah, you
it.
turn that page and it's like
Where's the
Uh,
rest
my
of it?
book's messed up.
Where's
My
the
book's
rest of
messed
it?
up.
It's
I
missing
gotta
pages.
misprint.
right, I just ran out. I just ran out of ink. I'm sorry.
All right. Well,
I want to talk just really quick about this
the
beautiful
Yeah,
design.
art. That is so pretty. Can we talk
thank
about that and like
you.
the cover and like
Yeah.
all of the art? I
Yeah,
know this
I
is
actually
dark, but
I have the deluxe edition right
Yeah, I was like,
here.
where's mine? I think mine's on the
Sorry.
shelf somewhere.
gorgeous.
And I'm obsessed with it, like the case and the end paper art. I just
Listen, I nobody told me that there were end papers, so when I opened it, I like was like, wait, guys, what? No, why did nobody tell me about this?
I've been trying to shout about it ever since I saw it was allowed to talk about it because I
Yeah.
saw it a while ago and I was just like, how can I not share this? Like the artist, like
Why would
everyone
you do
who
this to me?
created it. Yeah, I know. I was like, I was blown away. Like there's no notes ever.
I
I was
love
just like, they read the book and they understood it like so well. Like they just saw me. You know how like when you feel seen? That's
Yeah.
like the team, man. That team just sees me and they were like, here's your beautiful package of all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. So yeah, I still kind of
What?
feel like I'm like just like won the lottery somehow because it's gorgeous. And so I feel so lucky.
Did you get input on
Beautiful.
any of like the artistic parts of it, like the chapter designs or the end pages, the hidden cover, the sprayed edges, any of that, or was it
I
all a
actually
surprise?
Yeah, well, so I got surprised by the cover and the edges, and then I got asked about like what scene would be the coolest for in paper art, and then I also got asked about like some parts of the map and stuff and everything like that. And it was funny because I am so bad, like I said, at drawing, and in the beginning I did have to draw out like a very bad map in order just to help keep because we travel a lot in this book and so just to keep it all together so I know I'm going the right direction and like then I had to send that terrible drawing to the artist.
Oh
I was
no.
so mortified and she was like no, it really helps just to see it. I was like no, but it's really bad and she's like it's okay and like she walked me through it and then she came back with like this gorgeous masterpiece and I'm like how does that work? That's amazing. So I did. So that was I had input on that. It was really hard to pick a scene, but in the end, for the end papers, I just thought all four guys on the choosing night with like their masks laying around, like that was such an impactful scene to me. So we went with that one, and then they just blew me away by the artwork. So
I
I
love
love it.
that. That's so
Oh, I
fun.
love
it was such a fun process. Again, I'm always just completely blown away and humbled and honored, and it's been such a great experience for sure.
I love that. That's so fun.
Awesome.
Okay, so You mentioned that your other series are indie pubbed, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, what was the transition like for you going from like having total control over every single thing to having to kind of be like, okay, let me trust the process. I'm handing it off.
It is. It's a completely different experience, but both are great in their own right. And so this is, Jade Presley is a pen name, and so I have been traditionally published under my real name, Molly E. Lee, for a while. So I knew the process, and so I'd been a hybrid author for a little bit. And then when I got the idea for my first self-published Jade Presley novel, it was very spicy. I wanted it. I was just like a passion project. I was just like nerding out over Marvel and was like, oh, what if Marvel was spicy? And then I just kind of was like, I'm gonna write this. Like, why not? And I wrote it, and I didn't think that it would resonate with so many people, but it did. It went viral on Book Talk, which was amazing. And there's so many other nerdy, spicy girl readers out there, which I was just like, this is awesome. And so I did a pen name because under my real name, I write for young adults, and I didn't want them to accidentally one click a wide shoes and just go
Right.
in blind. I mean, they get to decide what they read. That's up to them. But I wanted a little bit
Yes.
of a barrier, just
Yeah.
a safety for
Yeah.
my own peace of mind. I didn't want that phone
Yeah.
call.
You
Yeah.
don't want a
So
12-year-old
Yeah.
picking up.
You
yes,
don't want the
exactly.
Yeah,
yeah,
And
for
for
sure.
yeah,
sure.
so it was different. And then because I was traditionally published with Entangled under my real name, that's what came up. Like they had accidentally stumbled upon Jade Presley, and they were like, "Wait, you didn't tell us this was you." And then it was like it
Yeah.
kind of spinballed into this other awesome conversation of, "Did you want to do something traditionally?" And I had that story ready to go, and it's just incredible because you have this team of such inspirational people around you in the traditional publishing sector, and like they're all rooting for you and like wanting this book to do well, and they care for your characters, and so it's very uplifting in that way. It doesn't feel like such a lonely process, where self-publishing, I do love it. I have a fantastic editor when I do self-publish, but it is just me and her, and then it's
Yeah.
like against everything else. So it was really cool to like have this team working and like these beautiful artists, and it feels like a hype squad. It's just amazing.
I love that.
Oh,
That's
I
so
bet that
sweet.
both experiences are really special because when it's just you and your editor for indie, it's like this is so intimate and like we really have so much control. But then like you also get to be traditionally published, and that's awesome and comes with like teams of people too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I'm so grateful for both. And it is so different because I am kind of a control freak, so it was hard in the beginning, but like when you have such a good connection and like communication with everybody, it just feels easy to be like, oh yeah, we're safe. It's all safe and it's all going to be okay. So they made it very easy to just kind of flow into it. So I hit the lottery. I hit the lottery with the team. I really did.
I
That's
love hearing
awesome.
about it because it's like one of those things where it's like, in the past it wasn't as big a thing indie publishing, right? So like now in the present, like you really do have choices. You can choose which path to go and it's so like overwhelming, especially for somebody who has never published to be like, okay, wait, what am I going to do? Like am I gonna try to be trad pubbed? Am I gonna indie pub? And so it's like nice to hear from somebody who's done both. I always like to ask like our indie to trad or hybrid authors like what's it like? Tell me more.
Yeah.
Let me
I know. I
help
Yeah.
love
make my
it.
And
decision
it
for
gives us
me.
hope. It gives us
It
hope
is. I
for
do.
the
Yeah.
pinch me's.
I do. Yeah. And I get that question a lot. And I think it comes down to, when new authors are trying to decide, should I submit to publishing houses? Should I get an agent? Should I do indie? I think it depends on what you want out of your release, right?
Yeah.
Because indie, it is wonderful because you do have so much control and you can target your audience, as fine tuned as you want. But you do have tons more responsibility. You got to be the creative and the business, which is very
Mhm.
hard to do because like I can't do that on the same day. Like one day I can be creative, other day I can do
Right.
admin work. I can't do them on the same way.
Right.
Um, so I think it really depends on what you want. And if you want something like a team to guide you, then absolutely, I'm like, get an agent, get submitted, and your story will be, get in the right hands. But it's so cool, like because now there's things like Book Talk and Bookstagram, and they do these amazing things with indie books that like I don't think happened a decade ago. It just wasn't
Yeah.
happening like it is now. and I'm always blown away by that community. I know social media has its dark side,
Right.
but
Yeah,
like there
but
is such a light side, especially for indie authors, and they can curate their feed to get straight to your audience. Like,
yeah,
it
Yeah.
happens to me all the time. I'll read one line and I'm like, oh, buying that book. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah.
like so it's so wonderful,
I
and
I
have a
read
whole,
so
yeah.
Quicksilver when it was indie.
I have
I
a
love that.
whole, like, I
Yeah,
have a whole list of just like KU books that I want to get to, like indie books that I want to get to, just because I see like one line posted somewhere. I'm like, well, that I
yeah.
have to read that.
You're like, well, I
Sold,
have to. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and it's
again,
like,
sold.
sold, and I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, for sure. You definitely, yeah, that is really fun side of like social media and all of that. Even though you're right, it can be a cesspool at
Can be
times.
Yeah, no,
terrible.
it
But
totally can. And I try to gravitate towards like just the opportunities that these amazing readers who are fantastic at creating content, I still don't know how they do it. Like it's
yeah,
amazing, but
Yeah,
they're giving such a platform to voices that might not have been heard before. And so I try to focus on that side because it's just, I'm always so fascinated and like appreciative of it.
yeah, I love
yeah.
that. Okay, we don't want to keep you too long, but we do have to give you a little bit of bad news. I'm gonna pretend I'm sorry about it. Mandy's not
I'm not.
gonna
I don't
pretend
ever
at all.
pretend.
Now that you have been on the podcast, you're actually legally obligated to come back for all future book releases. So sorry.
Not
That
sorry.
is not bad news. No, I would love to.
We
I
always
absolutely would
joke it
love
was in
to.
the fine print.
Yeah, it was in the fine print. It
So.
was really small. It was in white font, so
I would have to go reread that now. I'm so excited. I love it. I'm so glad that you invited me, and it's such a fun podcast. So thank
it's
you.
it's always really
Yeah.
fun to see authors' reactions when I start saying that, because
You're like,
they're like, I don't know what's about to come at
this
me.
hasn't
Like
been recording this whole time or something.
I know, right?
all right, so well, right now it's out, but like everybody
Yeah,
go pick up a copy of the Neverlist. If you get a first printing, I don't know where my fancy one is. It's on a shelf probably, but
somewhere.
yeah, it's got edges,
Yeah.
it's got end papers, it's beautiful.
And
Don't
it's
Beautiful.
be
a New
afraid
York
of what
Times
I choose.
bestseller.
And it's a
It
And
New
it's a
just
New
York
York
hit.
Times
Times
bestseller.
bestseller.
It just hit. I'm so,
Yay!
yeah. I just found out yesterday and
Congratulations.
I
That's
was like in
awesome.
tears. I was
That's
like
amazing.
crying, but my little white shoes is a white
I
is a new, I love it.
so we have this joke on the podcast where we're like uh authors come on and then their books come out and then they hit a milestone like the following week. So we've had several people who have like come on and then hit New York Times for the first time, hit USA Today
Yeah.
for the first time, and so like that's our little like joke, like we're helping.
You guys, you guys
But
are
like
good luck. You guys are. You guys, I love
Luck
it.
charms.
yeah, we're just like, if you want to just come and hang out with us, maybe your book will be a bestseller.
Absolutely. I would
It's
definitely, we should say
Big
it's
that.
all
manifestors.
it's
Big
all
manifestors
your
over here.
talent, but like
Yeah.
we're just putting that energy
We
into the
No,
just
world.
put the juju
that's
out.
not true though, because you guys, podcasts and social media, you guys get it on there. It is, it's so much to do with the readers and the team. It's not a lonely thing. You get it's, so it's, it takes a village.
Well, we are honored to be part of the tiny part of
The
the
little part of
village.
the
I
village.
love that.
Like
I
in the
love that
little
so
corner of the
much.
village, right on the
I
border.
think it's a good village. I think we got a good thing going.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
hanging
you
out with us.
so
This was so much
much.
fun. My cheeks hurt. I'm gonna have abs
Oh
from
Yeah.
yeah.
laughing. It's gonna be great. We will talk to you next time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Oh, I love her. She's so
I do too.
fun.
I do too.
Love, love, love Jade.
I
Love
love
that.
her. That was so much
Yeah.
fun. I really like my cheeks really do hurt.
I know.
So much
I
laughing.
know.
I love it.
Ah. All right. Do you want to announce something fun
Yes,
and
we do
festive?
have an announcement. So next week we are talking to CL Mont Blanc about Pride or Die. I thought this book came out later. It's already out now.
Oh,
It came out on the 15th, so like 2 days
yeah.
ago. I thought it came out later. I
Well,
apparently.
readers,
So
that means
you
you could
guys,
read it.
once again, you can go pick up a copy of this book, read it, and then come hang out with us and be part of the conversation. I
Yeah.
don't know what I was thinking. I I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's out now. So go get a copy. Mandy's already read it,
I've read it.
and she,
I want to call it fun. It is
well,
fun, even
it's
though it's
like,
about some
yeah,
crime.
but it's like you said, it's like a dark comedy, you know?
Mm,
So yeah, I'm
mm.
really excited to dive
If you have
into
a
it.
dark sense of humor, you'll like it.
Yes. And I also am obsessed with this cover. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like it's so like simple and perfect,
But even
but
little
it says so
details, like a
much.
peace sign sticker, like there's
Right.
stickers
It's like
on
so
the
simple,
lockers.
but it's like it says so
Perfect.
much. It says so much. Um
Perfect. Perfect.
I'm
Perfect.
so excited. That's going to be so much fun. Yay. And that's next week. And also a reminder that on April 30th, which is a Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Pacific time, I think. I am doing an Instagram live with Anna Holguin. Uh, After her book, I don't have it. Where is it? Where did I put it? Up Close and Personal by Anna Holguin. We will be talking about it. It is her debut romance. I'm so excited. I I have been bothersome in Anna's DMs, and she's so fun. I love her. Also, they just announced like so the female main character in the book is like a similar to like a Peloton instructor. And they just announced they're doing like there's a special like Peloton class with one of like
Oh,
the most
cool.
like a famous one of the most popular Peloton instructors who is like doing a class as part of like this book release, and I
That's
forget
really
but
cool.
I was like that's so cool. Like way to go. How awesome is
Yeah.
that?
And unique.
Very unique. So, yes. I'm so excited. So, if you want to come hang out on Instagram with me, I'll be there. I'm always on Instagram. It's really bad.
Yeah. You're always on threads.
I am always on threads. I am always on threads.
Always on Instagram. Girl, please.
I'm always on threads. That is so true.
Let's do a
Okay.
spiel so I can go watch Mockingjay. Oh, excuse me.
Maybe take a
I got up
nap.
I didn't
Maybe go
sleep.
to
I didn't
bed.
sleep very good last night.
Uh, all right.
So I am like,
Let's get you out of here, is what I'm hearing. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. Follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all the things. Visit our website, theincoherentfangirl.com, where you can also stream all of our episodes as well as read our blog. Subscribe to our Patreon for early access to podcast episodes, full video episodes, and bonus content, which we will have from this episode. You're welcome, Patreon. And you can also grab some merch. Sometimes Mandy gets bored and has an iPad, and then we all reap the benefits because she makes cute
you're
things.
welcome.
So head to theincoherentfangirl.com/shop to do that. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, design ideas you want to tell us that we're pretty, we will accept all of that in our
We'll take it.
inbox, theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We love hearing from y'all. And of course, one last way to support the podcast is to rate and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Please give us your words. You
We
know we
love
love
your
words.
words.
We are very wordy people here.
Don't send us numbers unless it's 5 stars.
Yeah. Or $1 million.
Send me numbers. Send
if
us numbers.
if the numbers are in currency, we will accept that.
We will
as well.
take it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
She's at Miss Made in China on all the things.
And once you followed us on social media and you followed the podcast on social media, you're going to head over and do some self-care because we love you and we want you to take care of yourself. And the world is
Yes.
still on fire, so it's very
Everything
important.
sucks.
Yeah, it's really, really, really fucking rough right now.
If you can do a little shopping and make yourself feel better for half a second, we want that for you.
please take
Get
care
that
of yourself.
serotonin boost.
Please, please, please take care of yourself. If you can, maybe hop on and find like a trans owned business right now
Yeah.
would be great. Any small
Mhm.
business would be great.
Mhm.
But we will steer you towards some of our besties who are
Yeah.
also great. First stop is Here Comes the Nerd at herecomesthenerd.com, where you're going to get some pins and artsy goodies. You're going to add code FANGIRL at checkout and you'll get 20% off your first order.
Then you're going to head to onceuponabookclub.com. We have 2 codes for you. You can get some bookish merch. You can subscribe and get, annual, monthly boxes. And there are different options. There are several. You cannot stack the codes. You have to just pick one. We love you no matter which one you choose. We do not care which one you go with. But use code Karen10 or Mandy10 for 10% off. But if you spell Karen wrong, you're gonna have to choose and the why choose and really disappoint three other people. So like,
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
yeah,
They're
you
all
shouldn't
great.
do that.
They're
Yeah.
all great. And then you're going to head over to our friend Amber D. Lewis at amberbdlewis.com. Um, you don't have to choose here. You can add 10 of everything to your cart, and then you're going to use code Fangirl10 and get 10% off the 10 of everything, which mathematically says you've gotten one of everything for free. So
We
if
know
you have
numbers.
9 friends, you have 9 gifts and got something for yourself for free as well.
But actually, we have a little bit of a wide choose scenario with Amber D. Lewis too.
No, I'm not choosing.
Exactly. But that's part of one of the new her newest series.
That's
Why
true.
choose?
Why choose?
Um, in book one, it was, or in the night the stars fell, fire and starlight, it was Alec. Obviously, we're not going to choose anybody else, but I'm just saying,
Just saying.
between fate and failure,
No words.
you don't have to choose. Last but certainly not least, you're gonna go support the show husband. So we have Searchers Believe on all the things. You can go follow them. That's the paranormal investigation group. If you go to searchersbelieve.com/shop and use code Fangirl10 on some merch designed by yours truly, you'll get 10% off. We have at Searchers Podcast on all the things. He should be downstairs editing that right now to get some new episodes out. So hopefully those will be posted soon. And then last but certainly not least, we have Beacon TV. So if you go follow at Stream Beacon TV everywhere, it's a new streaming platform that's like a cup of coffee a month, and it's paranormal horror, true crime content. I've taken over their email marketing, and I'm doing a lot of surveys to make sure because we want this to be a streaming platform for what people want. None of this like Bridgerton is going to be in two parts across 2 months, and you have to wait. Like we want what people want. So I've been sending out a bunch of surveys to figure out what exactly that is and make sure that it's what people want and do the things that we need to do to get there. We give away things in the email. So if you go subscribe to Beacon TV's email list, I don't give aways all the time because I want to be like Oprah. And if you want to subscribe to Beacon, you go to streambeacontv.com, use code Fangirl10, and you can get 10% off of your subscription. And all of the above
Yay.
support the show husband and all of these damned dogs we keep coming up with. Somebody's got to feed these dogs.
That's fair. That is
Yeah.
fair. They are very
And
cute. And
they're very cute, and the new puppy is very sweet. He's got to go get a snip soon, so he's not going to be very excited with us. But now I have 5 dogs, so
that's fine. 5 is a better number than 4. As
fair.
a Chinese
I didn't
person.
think about it. That's a good point.
5 is a better number than 4.
I've got 5 dogs, and I'm proud of it. Anyways,
That was
the
the
Incoherent
Incoherent
Fangirl.
Fangirl. Thanks for
Thank
listening.
you.
We
We
love
love
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.